Studio 304 in KCOC Student Center in the heart of Kaufman, Texas. It's the Tonight Show starring Chris Dow. Tonight, join Chris and a special guest, Nathan Fears. Nathan is a coach and history teacher at Terry Middle School in Mesquite. As well as a loving husband and father, he is here to share with you his Christian journey and how he has seen God run through his life. And now, here's your host, Chris Dow.
This is the place to be. So here's a few things people are talking about. I didn't realize it until I was kind of going over everything. We're trying to broaden our horizons a little bit. All of our news tonight, I didn't think about it, comes from like over the pond, across the seas. European-based stuff going on. Anyone here of the store chain Aldi?
Yeah.
Aldi?
Yeah.
It's a German-based company. Budget supermarket. They've issued a recall. I don't know if you heard about it. If you shop at Aldi, could be important to know. They had a recall. Aldi announced yesterday a recall on Clancy's barbecued flavored coated peanuts. The recall was issued because the label did not mention that they contain nuts.
Nice.
It's nuts.
Nuttiest thing I've ever heard.
It's pretty nutty. So apparently, the concern was that this package of peanuts may also contain cashews, which customers were not warned about. So that was the issue.
You know that cashews and peanuts are the same kind of nut, right?
Isn't a nut a nut?
No. Cashews are a tree nut, like almonds and walnuts. It's different from peanuts.
Oh, well there you go. So different types of nuts for different types of nuts. So, so no matter what nut family you're from, I thought it was interesting. You know that peanuts were recalled for not being labeled that they contain nuts. So, other shocking news from across the pond: monster fever is sweeping across Loch Ness again after this boy. 9-year-old, there he is, 9-year-old Sam Knight snapped an amazing picture during a family cruise on the Loch. The picture shows a dark triangular shape breaking the surface of the water. Experts were first divided over whether or not it was a wave, but they've since, can we see that picture? There it is, right here, you don't know. They thought maybe it was a wave, but scientists have agreed now and credited as an official sighting of the Loch Ness Monster. This is the 8th sighting of Loch Ness Monster this year, which is the highest annual total so far this century for the 1,500-year-old Highland legend of Loch Ness. So, interesting stuff from across the pond. Exciting things going on over there. We just have like sad news, but you know they got monsters and peanut recalls and nutty stuff like that going on. So get it together, America. Find some fun stuff to talk about. So we got a great show for tonight. We got Nathan Fears stopping by. We got a fun game to close out the night. So y'all stick around. Don't go anywhere. It's gonna be a good time. One night we need to do like the 80s clap.
No.
Hey, everyone was saying no. They're like, no, you cannot. What are my hands doing? I can't resist the 80s clap. It takes over. It's addictive. So there you go. You have not gained their attention yet for the audience applause sign. Some of you may have noticed by now that Todd, don't call me Higgins, is missing tonight. Todd is at home in final feverish preparations for their little one that will be arriving over the weekend. He said we still have a lot of stuff to do at the house, and so I said it's all right. We can get someone to fill in for you tomorrow if need be. And so we did a ton of interviews and found that Reagan had all of the qualifications. Mainly being he owned an actual suit and not just a tuxedo T-shirt. And actually I had to buy Todd his tuxedo T-shirt. So Reagan already more qualified. There you go. Oh, now they got it. Don't abuse the power. Great power. Great responsibility.
I don't know what my head doing.
So Reagan's filling in for him tonight. He's been jumping for that opportunity since the beginning of the season. So we said, all right, here's your chance. We also have a couple students out tonight. Drew and Allie Page, along with Doug and Lana, are on their way. Actually, they should have probably arrived around now in Ghana, Africa. So they are there visiting Mercy Project, which is a ministry that our children's ministry has been supporting for many years. So they're going to go see some of those kids. So y'all make sure that y'all pray for them this week while they travel around Africa. And they'll be coming back next week just in time for Thanksgiving. So next week is Thanksgiving week. Y'all are out of school. And we will not be... There we go. So even the teachers clapping backstage. So because there is a school break, we will not be having after school break time. So no school, no break time, as well as there will not be any activities going on here at the building next Wednesday night. So no Tonight Show next Wednesday. We need a sign that says.
Yeah, we need a frowny face.
Yeah, we need a frowny face sign. So no show next week. Enjoy some time off. Enjoy time with your family. Get your rest. But the show will return the following week. So the show will return the following week with our special guest, Mayor Jeff Jordan. Will be stopping by. So with that, if you took one of these boxes a couple weeks ago, if you took one of these, that is for a game that Jeff and I will be playing. So you need to get those back. We have a third of them back right now. I handed out 9 boxes. We got 3 back. So there's 6 of you. Need to get on it with your craftiness. Put something together. Get that back to us. So we'll have that for that game after Thanksgiving. We have a great show planned tonight with Nathan Fears. So y'all don't go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The bounty of Earth. This is the cube of Rubik. This simple puzzle was actually considered unsolvable by the humans.
Did they not have brains?
Simple ones. Now, this was apparently a 21st century torture device.
How long would they keep them strapped in there?
Sometimes hours at a time. Pretty gruesome. And over here we have their alphabet. It was called emoji. Few symbols could express the vast extent of their emotion. They had chia pets, just like we do. And this is the white and gold dress that caused the Civil War. This is Scott Baio. Anybody want to feed Scott Baio? It's included in the price of admission. No?
I mean, he double dipped. He'll regenerate.
No, he won't. He was a quad mogert.
Hey, give it back! Come back when you have a team. Okay.
beard color challenge is this. If you get 50 or more students to attend an episode of The Tonight Show, I will color my beard any color you choose and keep it that color for 1 week for every episode there are 50 or more students in attendance.
Touch or tackle.
Color will be chosen by a group vote, and coloring will take place after December 25th, 2017.
All right, and we are back. So Reagan, the official beard color challenge is on. What is our official count for the big beard color challenge this week?
Man, it's really sad. It's only 18.
18. So it dropped off a little bit from last week. So y'all have 4 weeks left. I know, playoffs are going on for some schools, so that's some stuff, but that stuff's starting to taper off a little bit with the holiday breaks coming in. So start trying to get your friends here. We do have special limited edition Tonight Show buttons. There are only so many of these out there. Can we zoom in? Can we zoom in on that button right there? Yeah. So if you bring a guest, you and your guest will receive one of these buttons. Now, so do we have everyone who's brought a guest in the last couple of weeks? Some new people? I'm gonna count you all. So here, let me get my bucket out here. All right. So let's give my bucket. My envelope. That didn't even sound like buttons. But my envelope of buttons came out bucket. So it's abbreviation. So it's all right. All right. So I'm gonna give you all one. I recognize. So well, I didn't have the buttons in. So and I'm gonna go ahead and award it to entice him to bring some more. So. She's dating you, but I'll go ahead and give it to you anyways. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Oh, so close, and all the way back. There we go. So the person who brought you isn't even here, so they don't get a button. So you stuck around, you got a button. So and you get a soda and a button for your pet. You're getting paid more than Todd already. So it's your first week, you already got a raise. Todd just gets sodas, you got a soda and a button. All right, let's bring it in. Let's not get too excited. I mean, get excited about the buttons, but let's bring it in a little bit. So we got a great show planned tonight. So I want y'all to give y'all's full attention and focus up here for our guest this week. This is a great guy. Many of you may not know him well. He and his family are still kind of in that new member kind of range. They've been here for a while, but some of y'all may not have gotten to meet them yet. So I want y'all to really listen, pay attention. This is a great guy, great family. I'm excited for y'all to get to know him a little bit better. Ladies and gentlemen, put it together for Coach Nathan Fears.
They do chants.
They do chants? We haven't done chants.
You ever done chants?
We haven't done chants. But
Let me lead you in one that you'll all like.
Alright. You might have to kind of lead in a little bit on the mic there. So, yeah.
1 week off.
1 week off. 1 week off. 1 week off. 1 week off. 1 week off. 1 week off.
Yeah. Bring a coach on the show. We're gonna chant. So we did the 80s clap earlier. So so now we have the 80s clap and a chant in one show. This is gonna go. This may make international news. So I'm glad we focused on the European-based stuff. Because they're gonna be hearing about this overseas now. So Nathan, we said you and your family. How long have y'all been members here? Been coming around here?
We placed membership in the summer, so it'll be we're almost at 6 months.
Almost 6 months. All right. So you and Courtney been married how long?
We are at 4 years.
4 years. All right. Don't want to stump you. Don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, we dated for a year before, so we're
All right.
so 4 to 5 years of
Okay.
wonderful bliss. So.
All right. There you go. So very good. And y'all have a little girl.
Yes.
So Danny.
Danny Sue.
And how old is she?
She is 19 months
19
on
months.
November 11th. So.
All right. Just this past week got a birthday.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Kinda.
Month. You know how that is.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
go by.
Month.
Once they hit 2,
yeah.
it's over. It's every year.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I remember that we did the monthly pictures on our
Oh, yeah.
birthday and all that stuff, and we just did that for the first 12 months, and then after that we're like, we'll just.
Nice.
You know. But you still counting months until.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it stops at 2. I did the math on mine one time for how many months I am old, and it weirds people out though.
Probably someone's trying to sell books.
It's true. So
Someone's got to make money on all.
it gets more depressing when you start counting in months when you get older though too. So it sounds worse. So you're like, I don't want to be that old, so I'm gonna go by years. So I think we got a picture of your family here.
That's not a picture, guys.
What's really
Just kidding.
So,
Yeah.
so your doppelgangers, found them on Facebook. So, before I forget, I've already forgotten. Or sorry, as I'm asking questions, if you have a question, you can text questions in by texting Chris Dowell 82 to 37607, and that will join you into that group. And you can text questions in for Nathan, and I will work those in during this interview time or the question time after the commercial break. And as always, if you don't have a texting device, there are some note cards and pens back by the sound booth. You can write down a question and bring it up here during that next commercial break. All right, so you and your wife got Danny, been here about 6 months, and then where were y'all before that?
We were in a place called Canton, Texas, which you all know.
Yeah.
And we were there for about 2 years, and I had worked in Canton as a varsity coach, and we were commuting back and forth from Heartland,
Oh, wow.
which was just 40 minutes to go to church.
Yeah.
It's just tough. So we visited. Well, y'all the first church we visited. We actually visited y'all first. We're like, we're gonna go and see everyone, and we're like, the first time we're here, we're like, yeah, okay, we're just gonna go here because we really like it.
There we go. One try.
Wonderful people.
That's a good place. Good place. And then, according to Facebook, it says you're from Houston.
Yes.
So
yes.
from Houston originally, all right. So
Go Astros.
I was about to say, how about the Astros?
Well, we could have a whole conversation. I almost had a heart attack watching. Anybody watch Game 5?
Yeah.
Wow, that was. I don't ever want to have to go through that again.
Yeah. It was pretty back and forth.
Yeah.
It was,
Oh man, that was. Tough.
that was something. All right, lost my notes here. All right, and so now, so from Houston, worked in Canton. Now you're coaching and teaching in Mesquite.
Mesquite.
And you're at Terry Middle School.
Terry Middle School.
Tigers. All right, the Tigers. All right. And so what all do you coach?
I coach. Now, that's a loaded question because I've coached almost everything that smaller schools can offer. So, now I coach football, basketball, and track, which that's the only middle school things that are offered besides cross country.
Yeah.
But I've coached girls powerlifting, boys powerlifting. I've coached baseball, softball. I've coached girls basketball. I fielded one of the worst girls basketball teams like in the history of the United States. And they were it was one of the most enjoyable teams I ever coached though, because they did everything I said. They just were not any good at what they were doing. So, but we finally found a team that worked. We won the only game we ever won was we won 10-8. Okay, and a slobber knocker of the two worst teams in Texas. So it was yes, we were running around. We had won the World Series ourselves.
Very nice. And then you teach as well. So what
Yes.
what subjects do you teach?
Right now I teach 8th grade U.S. history and Texas history. I've taught everything on the social studies side except for 6th grade and 10th world history.
Okay. All right.
I've had seniors, I've had juniors, I've had freshmen.
All right. So pretty diverse experience there, teaching both in the classroom and on the field. So, and then as we're talking, you're sharing a little bit, about your journey and time spent in the classroom, and so want to kind of turn the mic over to you and just kind of let you kind of talk with us a little bit about your journey and where you've seen your Christian walk at and where it's at now, and how you've seen God working through those times a little bit.
All right. This is a book called. It's titled Both Sides. See, the genius of it is even like they titled Both Sides. Brilliant. It's called The Catcher in the Rye. Have you ever read this? Ever heard of it?
I haven't.
Yeah. Have you read it?
No.
Those are the best kind of books.
I have a bunch of books out.
Yeah,
I
have
they look good on the shelf now.
Paperweights. Okay, this is a book that is riddled with all sorts of terrible things. So I think one of y'all said y'all read it. The main character's name is Holden Caulfield, and one of the things you'll love about this character, other than you won't like the stuff that he does, but he calls all the adults in the book a bunch of phonies. Like he basically walks around New York the entire book and says, "You're all a bunch of big phonies." And I know as a kid, when I was seeing adults, they would say something and then they would do the opposite. And so the book is, the title comes from one of the things Holden says. He talks about he wishes that he were a catcher in the rye. So he wishes he were just a person standing on the edge of a cliff, and that there would be kids playing in a field of rye, which is like wheat, and they would be running around, and he would stop them from falling off the edge of the cliff. And by the way, I had no clue what I read. Like I was reading it, and I was just like, this is just him cursing and saying, using the Lord's name in vain, like half the time, and cursing at adults. But later, as I went and I watched all the book reviews and started like trying to think, okay, what was going on? Well, he said that because it was a metaphor for he wanted to stop kids from coming into adulthood, because for whatever reason, kids are honest, they're real, they tell you exactly, like they'll tell you the sin that's going on, they'll tell you this is what I'm not doing right. And for whatever reason, suddenly with adults, they start putting on masks, they start saying, so for instance, if I were to say to you, how are you doing? What is going to be your response? Fine. Is it acceptable for you to tell me that, oh, actually, I'm having a really bad day, I'm struggling? Is that acceptable for you to do?
No.
For adults, a lot of times it's not. Like there's a lot of adults who are like, if you say, how are you doing, and their response is, man, I'm just barely getting by. I'm this very dark chapter of my life. Things are terrible that are going on. We were like, oh, hey, did you not know the adult code is? I just wanted you to say fine back. We're just being polite. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I didn't mean to start a conversation. And so Holden Caulfield is an attack on that. His character is adults are phony and youth is good. Now, what's the problem with that? One of the things that at the end of the novel, Holden realizes something. What's the problem with staying a child? What's the problem with that? Anybody know? I don't know. Let's try question and answer. What do you think? What's the problem with being a child?
You're not mature.
Well, there's some truth to that. What else? Give me some other ideas.
You get in trouble.
You get in trouble. Okay, keep going. What happens as time goes on?
You become an adult.
That's it. You can't stay a child forever. Okay, so at some point you have to be an adult, and you have to deal with other adults. And so even those who want to continue to be just this honest person all the time have to figure out how to deal with people who are sometimes dealing with dishonesty. When I was a kid, I was a phony. So one of the reasons I wanted to come and talk about this is because I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were Christian. It was I said you have to go to church every day. I wanted to go to church. I enjoyed church, but I had a mask. So when I'm at church, I'm this person. I take that mask off, and then when I go to school, I'm this person. And so I was what Holden would say. He was like, you're just a big phony. And what did that look like? Well, here's one of the things that as I look back on when I was a kid, or when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, there was a girl that all the kids teased. She was overweight, and like all the kids, like she was y'all know what I'm talking about, because you all see those circles when you get up there. But basically, she was in no one's circle of friends, and she was with like the other people who weren't in circle of friends. They were friends with her, but then she was just not popular. And she would say hi to me, and I would politely say hi back. But then, and that was all I would do. I would make sure that to keep my popularity and to make sure that I was not associated with that person, because I would be nice, but that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not going to. I think one of the problems is Christianity is not just about being nice. It's about go the extra mile. So if you were to ask Jesus, like, is it okay? I'm being nice. Isn't that good enough? He would say, absolutely not. What are you doing to help those who are sick? What are you doing to get out there and help others? Like if I had said, when she said hi to me, if I had said, I'm good, how are you? And I said, would you like to come eat with me? Or would you like to, and just ask her a question about how's your day? How are you? At some point, she would have said, I hate my life. I hate being here. I hate this school. But I don't know that, because that was never told to me, because I didn't bother to ask. I didn't care. I didn't want to know. I just wanted to make it through school and wear my mask. So my mask comes off. Another example, there was at our high school, there was a African American male in my class that was, didn't say that he was gay, but was pretty openly acting like he was, and he would try to be nice to me, and I was very like, I would be nice, I'd be polite, but I'm not going to have anything to do with that person, because again, I don't want to be teased. I don't want to say, oh, hey, are you two like in a relationship or something? So like, again, mask. Okay, so when I go to church, I accept everyone. I love on them. There are no, obviously there are some things that church needs to work on too. But when you get to school, what I want you to start thinking about is, what would Holden Caulfield say about you? Are you a phony? Are you come up here and, like you're this wonderful person and everybody, you get loved on, and then what are you doing with that love? Are you loving on others? Are you doing what Jesus wanted? Because as a teacher, I see that. So this is kind of a painful thing for me to talk about. I teach at Terry, and it is, those of you who are middle schoolers, middle school is brutal, right? It's like, I feel like, so like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but when the early Christians, had taken on Christ and said, I believe, I will do anything, they were fed to lions. Like they were literally like, some of them were taken, and they were, for sport, they were taken into a coliseum, and a lion came out and just mauled them and killed them in front of all these spectators. And the spectators are not like, they were just cheering on that. One of the reasons why Jesus came during Roman times was because Rome was so brutal. There was this idea of we're civilized and these other people are not, and they were anything but civilized. Crucifixion takes hours to die. They feed people to lions. Now, why was I saying that? Because today's I guess Roman execution would be like sending people to middle school. It's just so brutal. It's like being fed to lions, okay? So they are so mean to each other. And I just want to tell you about this story. Just look for these things. As a teacher, I get to see kids continuing this phoniness. I get to see kids, sadly, it's not a privilege. I get to see these circles that Jesus does not accept. That these these popularity circles that, you know, if you're not in it, then you're out of it, and there's nothing you can do to get into it. There was a girl in my class who, she was clearly having a bad day, and I was like, and you know, like, teachers are busy. Like, I literally have, you know, like, I watch videos during lunch. I watched all these Catcher the Rye videos during my lunch as I'm getting ready for this. Everything else is I'm planning, I'm doing this, I'm watching class. And so a lot of my conversations are service conversations. They're not meant to be, but you know, when I ask it, hey, how are you doing? I literally am hoping that they're going to say, I'm fine. And then so I go, okay, go to your next class. Because I have other kids who do need, you know, have legitimate problems. Well, in this situation, Jesus blessed me to be able to say, to recognize, like, something's not right here. So this girl, I said, hey, can you stay after? I asked her, is everything okay? She's like, you know, I asked her questions, and she just, you know, started crying, breaking down, saying, you know, sometimes I don't feel like I want to be here anymore, and I want to hurt myself, not hurt myself, but she says, if one of the things with people who are, you know, who are moving towards suicide is they say things like, would it really matter if I was here or not? And so she was saying things like that, like, you know, would it, you know, and my grandparents are raising me, and I don't want them to get hurt anymore, because every time something happens, that I get in trouble, it hurts them. So things that, where it's, she wants to take the burden away from everybody else. This is like, you know, red flags for me. Well, she had done things, like said things that were hateful to girls, and so she had mowed through all these different friends, and some of those girls that she had said things about, and they had said things about her, had formed a circle. And in this circle, so you ladies, you should know this, and guys are a little bit better, but it's still, you know, if you're not an athletic guy, or you're not you know, in this group, the same thing happens. They form circles, and then anyone who's on the outside is a loser, and is not to be talked to, and is to be made fun of constantly, and it's an insecurity thing. It's a non-Jesus thing. Non-Jesus thing. Jesus is 100% opposed to this. Okay, and so I had this conversation, and it just made me realize that this is important too. I hope that you're probably going to notice that your parents at some point are phonies. And here's the thing, everyone is a phony. Like the one thing that J.D. Salinger, I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but I suspect not, because he doesn't seem to understand that every person struggles with sin. And there is no one without any blame, and that the point is that Jesus died, came back, and gave you a second chance, a third chance, multiple chances, and that his command is what? What are the two commands? Love your God, love your neighbor as yourself. And the two things you have to do is love. And that means that those circles don't exist. If everyone accepted Christ and turned their eyes to the cross and said, I can't do this anymore, I'm done with phoniness, I just want to love God and I want to love my neighbor, it would end everything. You would see conflicts just immediately evaporate. And that's something that, as a middle school teacher, it's frustrating to see that. It's frustrating to see kids go through it. It's frustrating to see kids do it, because I'm sitting there looking at half those kids who are in those circles are in youth groups. Like, they're literally here, like you are tonight, saying the right things, doing the right things, and then they get to school, I put my mask back on. And I just would be aware of it, I guess. But be aware also that I was a phony, and those kids who are treating you right, treating you wrong, are phonies. And you are a phony, and your parents are phonies, and the President of the United States is definitely a phony. That guy was phony like a long time ago. Okay, so you know, phonies are not hard to spot. They're all over the place. There literally is no one who is not. But on the opposite side of that, God made everyone unique and wonderful, and God wants everyone to return to Him. If you truly believe that, it will change the way you talk to people, how you approach people. Teaching for 12 years, I have very little expectation for kids. I suspect that it's going to take a lifetime for. If you change, like in the next couple of years, you change tonight or you change in a week, that would be amazing. Because it took me I'm 35 or 6, something like that. I lose track of time. But it's taken me a lifetime to stop, to recognize that I am a phony, but then to continue to work to not be a phony and to love people. You're fun. Don't be phony in your love. Don't be phony in who you love. Love the Lord your God. Love your neighbor. Can't do anything else.
Yeah. So looking at, and understanding that we're all guilty of this at some point in our life of, we put this mask up, we put this shield up, whatever you want to call it, and we act different ways with different people that we're with. And I think as we recognize it, we strive to just be one person. We're called to be that one person, but knowing that we're all guilty of this, we all put. We get dressed up. We put makeup on to cover things. We do things to, we dress a certain way to hide things. There's all, the society we live in is very much cover up what we don't like. And that leads us into this idea with our identity as well. And so recognizing that we're all phonies, or we've been phonies. We've all pretended to be something else. We've all acted differently. It can kind of take you to a negative place looking at that. But how do you see, so if you see, people being phony, do you ever see God working through phony people?
Good, that's good guidance. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. He's worked through me. I legitimately like one of the things as a veteran teacher, it is a terrible burden to be a new teacher in the way our public education system is run right now. It's very hard. You come in, you have to teach a STAR test. You have to have a certain score. And so one of the things I try to find new teachers, and I ask them hey, how's your day going? I try to I point out that's a great job, and build that relationship so that when they do want to say that, when they do want to say, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore, or I can help them through that. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to what I was saying. But I think that's one of the things is because of how, okay, I see where I was going with it. So, because I believe that Jesus Christ, Son of God, that I need to love the Lord my God with all my heart, and I need to love my neighbor, I'm looking for neighbors to help. I'm actively looking for neighbors to help. I was not like that. It was every man for himself. At the beginning of my career and in the middle of my career, I was if it's not my problem, then I don't have to deal with it. Good. And that's how a lot of teachers are. And that's how a lot of kids are. That's how a lot of adults are. And as Christians, as God is working through you, with you, I don't know if most Christians feel it, but I would feel a obligation, since I've been shown this love, that I would show others that love, and so I would help others through their phoniness and to cut through because there's a lot of phoniness in public education. I know Mrs. Kent would testify to that, and other teachers would. And so it's a lot. I don't know if y'all are good on your parables. I struggled when I was a kid, but there's a parable of the king who forgave his servant his debt, and the servant turned around and had another servant underneath him, and he said, "Hey, where's my money?" And right after he'd been forgiven, he turns around and says, "Where's my money?" And so instead of passing on and saying, "I've been given grace, let me give grace," he was unchanged. And so I think that's kind of what I think God, you should start seeing a change as you see God working through you. He's not. That's another beautiful thing. God will never be done with you. There's not a moment in your life where God is not working toward not just your salvation, but you becoming a person who's ready for the kingdom of God. Okay, so once you become part of it, you're not done. It's not, once some of you have already, been baptized, that was somewhere near the beginning. Okay, there's a lot more to work on, a lot more to do, and it just depends on your outlook. Like you're saying, if you're negative, you're oh, more work, then yeah, it's going to be terrible. He's going to drag you kicking and screaming. There's going to be claw marks all over your room. Or if you're positive and you just think like that there's this creator out there who like designed you just for the people that are around you, all the people that you're going to meet, the job that you're going to do, the kids you're going to raise, the wife or husband you're going to love. That's pretty awesome to think about. Like that was all set before the beginning of the world. I have a verse there.
Yeah. So it's easy to get to get caught up in trying to pass, let somebody else take care of it.
Yes.
I think it's hard to step into something sometimes. It's easier to think, well, someone else will take care of that. Someone else will do that. I've even had those times, in ministry, where there's those days where it's just like, man, I really don't want to step off in that. But you just kind of have to push yourself and say, this is an opportunity. I gotta do that. And it's with the big stuff and the small stuff. We were on a trip one time going back, and I had a kid that woke up on the bus at like 30 minutes into a 36-hour bus ride, and woke up like projectile vomiting. I mean, just all over the place. Kids are screaming, stop the bus! And I'm sitting, in honest truth, I turned around, I saw who it was, and my first thought was, thank you, God, his mom is here. Because it was like, I don't have to deal with it. I gotta get the bus pulled over, but his mom can handle this. And I helped clean up, but I stayed far away because I was like, if I get in there, I'm gonna start throwing up. So I stayed on the outside. But there's those opportunities that that was a physical vomiting nasty mess. But we have those emotional messes that show up too, and people that are hurting, and man, if I jump off in this, it's gonna be messy. This is not gonna be clean. This is gonna be bad. And we so want somebody else to do it. But then we realize God put me here to do it. Someone else isn't here. I'm here. And every time, that I've awakened to that call, and I try to, and I still have to catch myself. There'll be times that I'll walk past something and I'll get down. I was like, that person didn't give me the right answer. I need to go talk to that person. Or I see someone, that just from a distance I can just tell that person is having a bad day. And I don't want to go, open up a can of worms, but I need to. And every time that I've done it, whether it's a physical mess that I'm cleaning up or it's an emotional mess that I'm helping with, every time that I've kind of accepted that opportunity, it's been good. And I felt good afterwards. It's like, I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that I started that conversation with that person, even though I didn't want to. I'm glad that I did, because you start finding out, you start seeing God working more. Because going in, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But then, God doesn't say you have to know everything. He just says, I just need you to be willing to do it. I'll give you the words. I'll tell you what to do. I'll show you what to do. I just need you to do it. And so when we step out in faith and we walk over and we just say, hey, how are you really doing? Suddenly, God starts giving us those words. Or he starts closing our mouth and saying, hey, you just need to be quiet and listen. Don't talk, just listen. And you walk away, it's like, and you just have one of those moments like, man, God, you did some awesome stuff there, because you start realizing like, that was not me talking, that was something else, and you start seeing God more, and I think it makes it easier for us to take those masks off and stop being phony, because we realize God's working through us, and with God in us, and when God becomes real to us, and we know that God isn't just someone we read about, but God is alive and He's real and He's active and He's doing stuff. It makes it so much easier to believe in Him and to take those opportunities. So I know Nathan's got some more things to talk about, and we've got some questions, but we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with more after this break.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are students to go to after-school break time?
I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day?
Get happy. Get after-school break time every Wednesday after school.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. So thank y'all for sticking around. Before the break, Nathan was talking with us a little bit and talking about some different things that have gone in his life, things that he sees, and the phoniness, the masks that we tend to wear from day to day, and the way that we put shields up and don't allow people to see who we really are, and sometimes that we refuse to see who others really are. So with that, I think another thing that you talked about, when we were talking before this, was that idea of who God has created us to be, and the idea of a creator who specially designed each person. We are uniquely and wonderfully made, but then he has to sit and watch us run around and not do what he's created us to do. He's made us uniquely and wonderfully made. He knit us together as this perfect, well thought out, planned creation, and then he sees us down here playing dress up and being everything except what he created us to be. So what were your thoughts on
it would be so frustrating. As a coach, we have kids who, I have kids who are leaders, and a lot of times my frustrations, I watch these kids as they lead my team into complete and total destruction because they're poison. Some of the kids who God has gifted with, kids are going to follow you, they're going to listen to you. They use those talents to turn around and complain and to gripe and to make fun of the worst kid of the team and to just do everything that they're not supposed to do. And just as I get a little snippet of that, I get a small sampling of in a season. So football season, basketball season, they're like, so like for 2 or 3 months I get to watch this and I get to, get more gray hairs and to, slowly, just watching futility and frustration as I continue to, and just like, and again, I'm not calling myself God, but do you see the example? As a coach, though, if I go and I just say, you're cut, get out, well, that kid he has leader talents. He is one of the better players on the team. He is needed. And so your God is the same way. I created you for a purpose. I need you to do this, do that, whatever those gifts are. He doesn't just flush the toilet. He doesn't just say, you're done. It's a constant process. I guess it's I don't feel like it came out real well when I was talking about that, but God is there's not a point in your life where God will abandon you. And that could be a bad thing in a way because, by the way, it's a good thing though. At all times it's a good thing. But from our human concept of, I just want to do whatever I want. I don't believe in a God. Well, he doesn't care. He doesn't care whether that you're atheist. Does not care. He's still going to be at your door, knocking, dragging you, kicking and screwing, whatever. He's going to continue to send people into your lives to change you. Same thing for Christians. If you are a mask on, mask off, again, by the way, everyone does that. And there's not a point in their life where they won't. But they get better at not doing it as much and focusing on the commandments of God. Love your neighbor, love your God. But there's not a point in your life where he's not going to be there trying to make you the best Nathan, Chris, Daphne, best person you can be. That's never going to stop. And I think that gives me peace. That gives me so much more authority and power than if we were just on a small little dot that somehow chaos turned into this great order and there's all these rules in the universe. that's much more comforting than, basically you're all a blob of cells, and if someone came in here and shot everybody up, it wouldn't be a big deal because you're all a blob of cells. You just return back to matter. It doesn't make any sense to me. I reject that. I reject atheism and all the other silly stuff that's out there. So,
yeah, it's encouraging knowing that we can stray away from God, but God doesn't stray away from us. And I love the story of the prodigal son, where you can go off and you can do your own thing and you can live the life that you want to live. But I love that little part, where the father is sitting watching, for his son's return. It says, while he was still a far way off, the father saw him coming and ran to him. And so this idea that, we can go do our thing, but God doesn't leave us, and he is anxiously waiting for us to come back to him. And he's moving things in our life and trying to get us to wake up, to see him and come back to him. And so knowing that God's always going to be there for us. We can turn our back on God, but God will never turn his back on us, is an encouraging thing. And God is always going to be working on us. Whether we're in a good place or we're in a bad place, we can always be in a better place. And so God is always going to be moving us and molding us and shaping us and trying to bring us into what he created us to be, and get us to that point. And I think that's an encouraging thing of knowing we've all stumbled and fallen short of the glory of God, but we have the grace and the forgiveness through Jesus' blood that even though we don't deserve it, we can still obtain it. And so just that knowledge of we're not in this alone. Everybody's messed up. We've all messed up. We're all going to mess up. But we have that forgiveness, and we have that. God has that ability of fixing those things and redeeming those things through us and through the blood of Jesus. So Nathan, I want to thank you for being here and sharing with us tonight. You do not get left out. You get a special edition button that not only says the Tonight Show, but also says special guest Nathan Pierce. So there you go. So you can wear that proudly. The night is not over yet. We have a little game that Nathan and I are going to play right after this commercial break. So y'all stick around.
Good afternoon and welcome.
What?
I say good afternoon and welcome. Can we release the masks? Just take them off. How can we be a secret... How can we be a secret society if we can't keep all of our secrets?
Do they know we faked the moon landing?
No, not yet.
What about Bigfoot?
Bigfoot's not real and everyone knows that.
Did they figure out we deflated the football?
No, we found a fall guy for that one.
Bigfoot's definitely real.
Nope.
We'll just have to agree to disagree.
What about Area 51? Do they know about that?
No.
How about Area 52 to 54?
No, stop saying areas. No areas plus a number.
Literally hundreds of photos of Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him once. Wait,
See?
wait, Bigfoot? I'm getting it wrong. Paul Bunny?
I've seen his footprint when I was...
Scott! Kyle, are you streaming this?
Is that not cool?
No, it's not cool. That's what secret means. It's a secret society.
Oh, wow. Secret, yep.
We are back. So we're going to play a little game of football tic-tac-toe, being as you're a football coach. So our volunteers, y'all volunteer. Y'all have your buckets over here. Y'all are creating the tic-tac-toe board. There's an interactive board, so y'all are going to kind of help us out a little bit there. Since you're wearing a red shirt, I'll let you have the red footballs. We're going to come over here. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to take turns trying to throw these into a bucket. And not only do we have to get them in a bucket, but we also are trying to Connect 3 to win tic-tac-toe. So since you're our guest, I'll let you go first. They're going to try to help us out a little bit and try to catch those on that side as best they can. So, and we'll just
hit and bounce out. Does that not count?
No. I don't know. We may count it because otherwise it's going to go long. So if it bounces out, y'all pick it up and put it in the bucket. I'll let you go, and we're just going to go back and forth. So, all right. Oh, you got it. All right. I gotta try to block you here. So that's it. Oh, all right. This is going better than I thought.
It's fine.
Did that hit the bottom one first? Is that it? Yours and bounce out?
It went in that one.
It went in that one. Okay.
All right, Chris.
Oh, all right. No pressure.
Hello, Charlie.
All right, hold that still.
You're supposed to move it when he throws it at you and catch it when I throw it at you. That was the deal. All right. Did it touch or did it go in?
No.
Okay.
Game on.
All right. Here we go. Wow. She wins. The board fights back. All right. Locked. You can hold it. All right.
You got it there and there.
Yeah, so you gotta go across the top.
Oh, nice one.
No! It didn't even bounce it out. All right. I threw it. For the win. Oh! He didn't move. He's like, I'm gonna be fair.
We didn't pay him.
He's the rule follower. So. Oh! All right. Yes. That goes in. All right. I haven't even been to bottom. Oh, I think this is going to the cat. He's got it right there. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. There's no way that any one of us can win this game.
Well, let's start.
Down the side.
Oh yeah. He can come down the side here. Oh. Good eye.
Boo. Yes.
It didn't go in. You don't have to throw them back. I got plenty. It's getting dangerous. Oh!
No. Don't get you, Daphne. Move it out of the way.
Alright.
Come on, Ethan. Here we go.
We're out of time. We're gonna pray, and then we will we'll close out. So, yeah, maybe just throw those up here. All right, let's pray, guys. Let's pray, guys. All right, Father God, thank you very much for the blessing of this night. I thank you for Nathan. I thank you for the man that you have created him to be and the work that you continue to do in him and through him. Father, I thank you for his eyes. Father, the way that he actively looks around the school and the life that he lives and strives to challenge himself to see people with your eyes. Father, to love them with your heart and to serve them with your hands. Father, I pray that you would continue to be with him from day to day as he interacts with students. Father, as he becomes those ears that hear the pain of their life, as he becomes that voice of encouragement. Father, as he becomes someone who comes alongside you in shaping and molding them into the person that you have created them to be. Father, I thank you for the ministry that you've placed in his heart and the gifts and the talents that you've given him. Father, I pray that you would just continue to pour over him and his family in many blessings. Father, be with us as we go out through the rest of this week and as we go through this Thanksgiving break. Father, may we take a time to step back and look at all the many blessings that you've put in our lives. And Father, be thankful for everything that you've blessed us with, everything that you've done, everything that you're going to do. It's in your Son's name that we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you guys for coming. Y'all have a good week.